Like, what's about to happen?
Y'all coming with me?
Right. I was just like, oh my goodness. So I was living with his dad at the time, and he actually got a month off from work. And so he was home with me, which helped because I had to have a C-section. And, people have this conversation about C-section is not a real delivery. And I was just like, Frank, they take your organs out, bruh. Like, and they have to put them back in. And so dealing with healing, dealing with a newborn, dealing with being up at night, and then literally operating off of like 3 hours of sleep. And people tell you sleep when your baby sleeps. Yeah, okay. That's a good thing that you think you're going to do, but that don't happen. And so I feel like you said, Wayne, it's the most rewarding, frustrating, loving thing that you can do because you're so tired. And even though you're so tired, you still have to manage and pour into this little person. And so I love being his mom, but like you said, it's just like, I gotta do this for the rest of my life. Because, we don't stop calling on our moms after we turn 18 or 21. No. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just.
And I know there's still days where they're just like,
get off my phone. Right. Like, right. And so I think to myself, my son is gonna be calling me like, Mom. And I'm just gonna be like, bruh, you don't even live here no more. Like, and I'd be talking to him like that. I'd be like, bruh. And he'd be like, Mommy, don't call me bruh. So,
You brought up a good point about the C-section and that not being seen as being a mom or giving birth the natural way. And for a long time I felt guilty because I had to have a C-section. Well, technically two.
Right.
The first, with Aaliyah, because, she was breech and decided, I'm not turning for nobody. Right. I don't care what you say. I'm not coming out.
I remember that, yeah.
So,
and you tried everything.
I did.
Like,
I tried
acupuncture.
Yeah,
you tried everything.
We tried different exercises, different movements. And even up until the day where my C-section was scheduled, they checked and she was like, nope, she's still there. And I'm like, well, that's just what it is.
Right.
And then with Gianna, I was in labor for probably a strong 12 to 14 hours and I had only dilated 5 centimeters. Right. Yes. And I'm just like, can you just get her? Like, I'm tired. Right. She's apparently tired because her, heart rate and stuff was fluctuating. So we was just like, okay, let's just do the C-section. Right. And what really bothered me in the beginning when I was in triage, because my water broke, that was new to me because my water never broke before. Right. The nurse kept pushing, you don't want to have a C-section, you want to have a C-section. I'm just like,
they be trying to rush you.
Lady, calm down.
Switch over to another
patient.
Right. I'm just like, calm down. Like, I'm having contractions. I don't even know if I'm in labor. Yeah. Like, you told me to come in here to test to see if my water actually broke, but here you are and harassing me for a C-section. So it's just, it makes you feel even more guilty when the baby comes via C-section and you're just like, oh, you had the baby, how was your labor about? Well, I had a C-section. You're kind of like, you had a C-section?
Right, like it's easy.
Right. And I'm just like, no, I wasn't able to have my baby natural. Not that I didn't want to, but that's just not how it panned out. And then I've pretty much been cut in two.
Pretty much, basically.
And I'm up moving around like a little old lady because I'm in so much pain that if I move abruptly at all, I'm ripping the stitches and then I'm back here in the hospital, you know?
And you still have to be the mom.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because there's things that you have to do for your baby that other people cannot.
Right.
So,
yeah, like the whole breastfeeding thing. I'm like, yes, I want to do it, but at the same time, I'm like, dang, she got to eat again? Like, it just, hey, I'm tired.
It makes you feel like a cow. Yeah. I remember telling my mom and Claire, I was like, I feel like a cow. Because it's like right when you finish, you got to pump. And then they want some more. And you just like, oh my goodness. Just, you know what? Why do I need to wear clothes? Like, why? Like, I just might just be here.
Latch on.
Right. Just lean over for you. Right. Seriously. And it's funny that you mentioned that because that was a big thing for me, like wanting to breastfeed. And I remember doing it, and I remember telling my son's father, I was like, I want to do this. And I was like, and I know that I have a low tolerance to pain. I said, so if at any moment I say I don't want to do this, remind me that I said I want to do it, and I was going to stick to it at least for a month or two. And I remember one day I was crying, I had tried the creams and all that stuff like that, and I was just like, oh my God, it was so, and I was like bawling, and those after you have your kid emotions, they be like through the roof. And so I was just crying and bawling, and he was like, D, you said you wanted to do this. And he was like, if you want to stop, you can stop. He was like, we'll do whatever you want to do. He was like, but I'm reminding you what you said. And I was just like, ugh. And so I feel like I stuck with it, and like 2 days later, it didn't bother me anymore to nurse. And then, you know, of course I nursed him until he was like almost 3. God, goodness gracious. But like wanting to stick to, in your mind, having how you think your pregnancy and after that it's going to go, and then how it goes is like a constant battle. Because you're like, I thought it was going to be this, but it has to be this. And how do I get over the fact that it's not how I thought it was going to be? You know what I'm saying? And that was a struggle for me. Like, at times I didn't know how I was going to handle it, but I will say, you know, when you have a village surrounding you, that helped me tons, because I went through a period where I went through postpartum depression, and it was just terrible. And I didn't even realize I was going through it until I was at my son's appointment, and I just busted out crying. And then my son's father made me laugh, and I started crying. He was like, well, what's the matter with you? And I was like, I don't know. And it was like watching a Lifetime movie. I was like, what is going on with me? And I realized it was postpartum depression. So it's just, being a mom is crazy.
It is. And like your hormones are all over the place. And I remember after having Aaliyah, I also suffered from postpartum depression. And I remember because Larry had gone back to work. So it was just me at home. And, you know, she's constantly wanting to nurse or doesn't want me to put her down. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm about to lose it. And I think the only thing that helped me through that was the fact that my mom called every day on her lunch break. And she called, it wasn't anything long, just like, hey, how you doing? You know, what's Aaliyah doing? You know, what have you guys been up to today? And just like hearing her voice and just being able to express how I was feeling at the moment helped tremendously. I mean, because it's like you're there by yourself and you're the only one that's content to the baby. It's just, can I just clock out just for a minute? Can you just lay here just for a minute? Let me just grab my composure real quick. They're like, no, pick me up now. Like, I don't care what you're going through.
You don't understand how much you need that adult interaction. You like, just talking about anything. And you know, it's funny because a lot of my friends, and my sisters included, had children before I did. And so by the time I had my son, it was just like, okay, I thought I was being a good friend and a good sister by giving my friends space to be with their new baby, to be with their partner, and to delve into this new thing that they were doing. And in reality, they probably would have been happy talking to me about the laundry, about TV. And I didn't realize that until I was sitting in it myself. And I was just like, I wish somebody would call me. But once I finally expressed that to people around me, they would, like you said, they would call me, Daniel, what you doing? Oh, I just put a bit. Okay, well, great. I'm gonna talk to you about what's going on at work. I'm gonna talk to you about a TV show you like. And it was like, once I got that, it was just like, oh, okay, I'm not perfect in dealing with this, but I looked forward to people just calling to me, talking to me about nothing, because I did, you know, like you say, you around this baby, and the baby can't talk to you because the baby's staring at you, and you staring at the baby.
And the baby's the problem in the moment.
Exactly. I need you to get up and walk.
Whatever it is you're crying about, can you figure it out?
Exactly. Or go to sleep. Go to sleep. Because both of us want sleep. I remember telling them, please go to sleep. Like, you know, when they be up at like 3 a.m. I'd be like, please go to sleep. And they just be looking at you like,
looking at you. And then I just smile.
Yes. And then you'd be like, oh, no, go to sleep.
Now it's not the time to be cute.
Yes. You can be cute doing when the sun come up.
Right. At nighttime, I need you to close your eyes.
Yes,
and go to sleep.
That was party central. I used to be so confused. I'd be like, what? Sir?
Sleep all day, up all night.
Yes, this is not the womb. Goodness.
No, you're not nocturnal.
Yes.
Give me the program.
You ran out of batch. Like, no.
And then you brought up a point about the breastfeeding. I know, and the goals you set during your pregnancy. And I know with Aaliyah, I was like, yeah, I want to nurse her for the first year. That's my goal. That's my goal. And I think I got like 6 months in, and I'm just like, and I had gone back to work. And, you know, with the stress of work and the stress of being, you know, taking care of her, your body just doesn't keep up. So my production had gone down. And I'm just like, I'm just not producing enough. And she's hungry, and I'm going to have to give her formula. And I hate to do that. And I was devastated.
Makes
like,
you feel bad,
I remember calling Lair, and I was just like bawling my eyes out. And I'm just like, I'm not producing enough, and she's hungry, and I'm gonna have to put her on formula. He was like, well, you did it for 7 months.
Yeah.
Like, cheer for yourself that you were able to nurse her for 7 months.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know, but I said I want to do a year, and I can't do it because my body's not letting me do it. So, like, not being able to match up to that goal was hurting. And then with Aaliyah, I set the same goal, and I was able to do that. Although, like, towards the end, my production started to go down. But with her caregiver was so encouraging because she was like, no, I'm not giving her formula. She was like, we'll give her water, we'll feed her more, and then we'll give her, give us what you have and we'll make it work. And that's exactly what she did.
Yeah.
So, she never touched baby formula. Not to say that anything's wrong with formula.
Right.
You feed your baby what's best for them.
Yeah.
But that was my goal, and I was able to do that with her. And then it got to the point where, it was funny when I would go away. Oh, that junk was flowing like crazy. And then when I come back, she act like she don't want it. I'm just like, girl, you gonna drink it.
Society makes us feel that way, though.
Yeah.
Society makes us feel like if we don't do what we set out to do as a mother, that we're bad. Instead of letting us know that being a mom, it has its ebbs and flows, and there are different journeys to it. Instead of this one, you need to do this, you need to do this, or your child is going to turn into X, Y, and Z. They make us feel bad. Right. And it's just like, I ain't got time to feel bad. Like, he alive, he healthy, and that's all I got today. And then the next day will take care of itself. Like, society has done a terrible job of making us feel bad about parenting different. And that's terrible.
I actually had the same issue as far as not being able to breastfeed my daughter because she was in the NICU. So, like, I physically couldn't. She was in an incubator for the majority of the time that she was